Monday, February 13th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news. And later in the show, Micaela Scully of Silver Hill Hospital talks with us for our continuing series on eating disorder awareness. We talk with her about eating disorders in the LGBTQ community. Frank Granito will have a look at your forecast and later on a Nutmeg Sports Update. And Donald Ang joins us later to take a look back on this day in history. But first, yesterday's snowstorm and today's high winds have led to delayed openings for many schools. But the roads were also hazardous yesterday. State police report that between 8 in the morning to 4:30, troopers responded to 107 accidents, 6 with injuries. They also had 134 driver assists and 636 calls for service. State police say even if you have four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, or regular drive, slick and or snow-covered roads means everyone must reduce speed and increase their following distances. And speaking of winter weather problems, Superintendent of Schools Dr. Chris Clowett is apologizing for what some call dangerous conditions while children were trying to get to school on Friday. While many surrounding towns had school cancellations, Shelton was on a 2-hour delay Friday, leading to some backlash from parents who also said that buses were extremely late. Clowett said based on information he had received from authorities indicating that there had been no accidents overnight Thursday and that roads were not great time there is bad weather. He said any student not attending school last Friday will be marked excused and it will not count against eligibility for perfect attendance. And in other news, a traffic stop in Greenwich led to the arrest of 5 people. Hearst, Connecticut media reports that it began Saturday morning, police said, with an improper turn that led to a pursuit, an Interstate 95 crash, and the apprehension of 5 Florida residents and the recovery of checks allegedly stolen from Massachusetts and New York. Now police are attempting to determine whether any of those checks were cashed in Connecticut. Under arrest by Greenwich police were 28-year-old Ronald Washington, 28-year-old Jerry Moore, 32-year-old Gary Greer, 45-year-old Kimberly Ann Main, and a 15-year-old male, all from Florida. The adults are each charged with tampering or destroying evidence, as well as 6th-degree larceny and conspiracy to commit larceny, in addition to identity theft and other charges. Additionally, Washington, who police said was the driver, is charged with risk of injury to a minor and possession of a small amount of marijuana. And a local woman has helped foil an attempted art heist in Boston. Boston police say 3 witnesses helped nab a man's attempt to steal 5 valuable paintings from a Boston art gallery, including etchings by Pablo Picasso and Rembrandt. The Associated Press reports that Boston University student and Shelton resident Mackenzie Thompson says she and 2 other students were walking near the Galerie d'Orsay after the Super Bowl last week when they heard glass breaking. Thompson says a man walked out with several paintings and the trio chased him down, apprehended him, and flagged down a police officer. 29-year-old Jordan Leishman faces charges and remains jailed without bail. It wasn't immediately clear if he had a lawyer, but the artworks have been returned. Gallery workers estimate the prices were collectively worth nearly $50,000. And state police and other agencies are dealing with a hazmat cleanup on I-84 that closed the highway near Tolland. Sunday around 6:55 in the evening, troopers responded to a tractor-trailer rollover on I-84 eastbound near exit 67. No injuries were reported, but due to the tractor-trailer carrying hazardous materials, I-84 in both directions was closed. The fire department also responded to the scene and DEP and a hazmat team were called. Nearby homes also had to be evacuated during that cleanup. Now the westbound side of the highway has since been reopened, but I-84 eastbound in that area is expected to remain closed through this afternoon. And in Easton, requiring the Saddle Ridge developer to pay for an outside engineer on behalf of the town to oversee the project as it's built may be one of the conditions put on a potential approval for that controversial application. The Planning and Zoning Commission discussed this and other possible conditions or requirements of the developer while working to draft a resolution on a large residential project at a February 8th special meeting. According to the Easton Courier, a majority of P&Z members have indicated during deliberations that they will likely vote to approve that 66-unit complex based on numerous improvements made to the project by the developer to protect the watershed and eliminate or greatly minimize other concerns. In general, the town's outside engineering expert has concluded that the current Saddle Ridge plan, as continually modified during the process, would not have more of an impact on wetlands or watershed than other housing plans that have previously been approved. But you can get a lot more on that story at eastoncourier.com. And Stamford police report that a Unity Road resident contacted them last week after hearing noises in their basement. Officers Bob Sodomy and Chris Brown responded to the call and searched the residence for the intruder, which turned out to be a northern flicker woodpecker. The officers were able to safely capture and release the bird after posing for a few photos. So some good news there. But let's switch gears now and throw it over to Frank Ardito for a look at the forecast. Frank, it's been a crazy week or so in the weather.
A crazy couple of days around Fairfield County. It's going to be cold out today, Kate, with high gusts of winds that are only going to get stronger as the day goes on. Early morning cloud cover has made way for partly sunny skies we can expect for the afternoon. There'll be a high of 36 today, but with wind gusts between 35 to 45 miles per hour, that number will feel more like 15. Partly cloudy and frigid overnight. There's a low of 18 degrees, but it will feel more like 0 with the wind chill. Still windy overnight heading into Tuesday morning with gusts between 25 to 30 miles per hour. Much nicer out tomorrow for Valentine's Day. We'll see mostly sunny skies throughout the day with temperatures in the mid-30s. Far less wind, so we can expect a real feel temperature between 32 to 35 degrees. Cloudy tomorrow night with a low of 25, so make sure to bring an extra layer when you are heading out for dinner. Mostly cloudy skies around the county on Wednesday. A little warmer out with temperatures jumping into the mid-40s and breezier with gusts between 15 to 18 miles per hour. Winds will pick up overnight to the 25 mile per hour range, but we'll see mostly clear skies and a low of 25 as we head into Thursday morning. That'll do it for this weather update. Let's send it back over to Kate.
All right, I liked a little bit of that Boston accent there. You lay out.
Accidental, not on purpose at all. Don't let Eric know I did that.
All right, Frank. Well, we are going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we have more local news, including a couple that's going to be getting married tomorrow atop the Empire State Building. Donald Ang takes a look back on this day in history, and Frank will have your Nutmeg Sports update after this.
We told Dad he could have his office back if he sold 150 cars last month.
Deal's a deal.
Well, Dad, you did it. You get your office back.
Forget it. I'm having too much fun down here. My new goal, 160 cars. Wow. Folks, if you ever wanted a great price on a new Nissan, now is the time.
Right now, lease a 2017 Altima 2.5S for only $99 a month.
Isn't it time you got Millerized?
It's all about meeting goals this year, and Trinity CrossFit of Ridgefield has experienced trainers, top-of-the-line equipment, and a newly renovated space to help get you there. Offering more classes per day than any other CrossFit gyms in the area, we cater to all fitness levels. Our coaches have a combined 10 years of experience in CrossFit, and as competitors themselves, Trinity coaches can get you ready for competition in 2017. Visit our convenient location on Route 7, Danbury Road, or find out more at trinitycrossfit.com.
Whether you're looking for the freshest seafood, the perfect steak, or want to share delicious appetizers, look no further than the Stone's Throw in Seymour. Chef Peter Hom has more than 30 years of experience creating original recipes in his American eclectic style. Our dishes are made from scratch with fresh, local ingredients that pair perfectly with a seasonal craft beer, a signature cocktail, or your favorite wine. When you visit our Riverside location, you'll feel like you're on vacation when you're only a stone's throw from home. Visit us on Roosevelt Drive in Seymour or at StonesThrowCT.com. At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our Mortgage Web Center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Wild Birds Unlimited, your one-stop shop for all your backyard bird hobby needs. Premium bird seed, fresh delivered each week. A great selection of bird feeders, houses, a patented pole system, bird baths, and a vast array of wonderful gifts of whimsy and nature. Visit us at 356 Heights Road in Darien, next to the post office, across from Norotan Heights Railroad Station. If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier Network, and we've also reached 1.7 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network. If
Welcome back to this February 13th edition of your coffee break on the HAN Network, and it's time to throw it over to Donald Lang to take a look back on this day in history. Don.
Well, Kate, we begin today in 1503 with what has become known as the Challenge of Barletta. French knight Charles de la Motte, after drinking too much of the local wine, makes disparaging remarks about the Italian army, claiming they were not up to the valor of the French knights. Now, interestingly, La Motte made these comments while a prisoner, having been captured a month before in a battle against those unvalorous Italians. He challenged his captors to a mounted tournament, 13 French against 13 Italians, because he assumed the Italians would be superstitious and reject the challenge. Instead, they accepted and soundly defeated de la Motte again. La Motte's men had to surrender their horses, arms, and armor. There's actually an annual Renaissance Festival type commemoration now. You're looking at it right there. That includes, among other things, lots of wine. To 1880, Thomas Edison observes the Edison effect. Also known as thermionic emission, it is the emission of electrons from a charged cathode in a vacuum. In layman's terms, it's why old school light bulbs glow. 1935, a jury in New Jersey finds Bruno Hauptmann guilty of the 1932 kidnapping and murder of the Lindbergh baby, the son of Charles Lindbergh. Hauptmann had been caught with currency from the baby's ransom, and the timbers in his attic matched wood from the ladder that had been used to climb into the baby's nursery. Now, current research has cast some doubt on his actual guilt because the ladder may have been planted, and a man who positively identified him as being at the scene was, in fact, legally blind. He was executed in New Jersey's electric chair the following year, proclaiming his innocence to the very end. Finally, now we go to 1954. That is Furman basketball player Frank Selvey, the Corbin Comet, throwing in a 40-footer at the buzzer for his 99th and 100 points in a game Furman won 149-95. He remains the only player to score 100 points in a Division I basketball game. A two-time All-American, the game was on Frank Selvey night, and the coach encouraged his players to get him the ball as much as possible, and they did. Selvey would go on to play 9 years in the NBA and lose 3 more to military service. He was actually on those Jerry West Laker teams of the 1960s. That is your look back in history for today, February 13th, and I'm Donald Lang.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, the Darien Times reports that the Undies Project, Inc. will hold a bra drive called Mardi Gras to coincide with Mardi Gras in Darien to collect donations of new and gently used bras. The mission of the Undies Project is to provide new, unused underwear to men, women, and children in need. Underwear is the most underdonated and most needed item of clothing that many take for granted, according to the organization. They say no one should be deprived of the simple daily necessity of clean underwear. Now, if you want to donate, you can send new and gently used bras through Tuesday, February 21st to Friday, March 3rd at the following local businesses in Darien: Eau de Lys, Kaya Yoga, Neat Coffee Shop, Professional Physical Therapy, and the YWCA of Darien and Norwalk. And you can get more information at DarienTimes.com. But let's throw it back over to Frank Granito for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. And let's first start by congratulating our Week 5 winners for Athlete of the Week, brought to you by Danbury Orthopedics. You can add 2 more to the win column for the Danbury Hatters as they continue to dominate the winter season. Your Week 5 winners were Jacob Camacho of the Danbury Wrestling Team and Lexi Lucas of the Danbury Cheerleading Team. Camacho pinned his opponent at 120 pounds in 51 seconds to lead the Hatters to a 57-16 victory over rival Fairfield Ward Wednesday 2 weeks ago as the Hatters improved to 9-1. Of course, they just added on an FCAC championship. For Lexi Lucas, she helped the Danbury Hatters to an FCAC championship, defeating the 2-time defending champion Ludlow Falcons by a score of 175.9 to 175.6. Lexi was the top scorer at the championships and was also selected to the All-FCAC cheerleading team for this season. We'll have our Week 6 nominees for you this afternoon on a special Nutmeg Sports at 3 p.m. live from Dorothy Hamill Ice Rink down in Greenwich. Saturday, the HAN Network was live at New Canaan for the 2017 Joe Sikorsky FCAC Wrestling Tournament for the 4th straight championship this season for the Danbury Hatters, who reigned supreme in the FCAC, taking home their 7th straight conference championship. 7 Danbury Hatters took home an individual championship as Danbury scored a team total of 304 points. Ward finished in second with 182, Trumbull in third with 178.5. Tim Kane and Mike Cece were named the tournament's most outstanding wrestlers, and Jacob Camacho received the Fast Fall Trophy with his 3 wins via the pin totaling a time of 1 minute and 51 seconds. Here's a look at some of the highlights from the championship on Saturday.
Wrestling in what will be his final FCAC match. Fairfield Ward's all-time win leader.
Alex gets off his back, 9-0. 20 seconds left in this first period.
Kane just relentless here.
Yeah, Jamadi, you try to stay, you almost just want to stay still because anything you do is going to come back to haunt you. And he does not get out of the first period. Tim Kane does not allow the match to get out of the first period. 5 seconds left.
What a way to end your FCAC career. Well done by Tim Kane. Let's step.
And once again, and I was saying at this level, the wrestlers know this, but they're going to call these things. If you get to the finals, you got to wrestle.
Yeah. Great job. Great takedown. Great job. Being aggressive, picking his spot. He knows Murata's got to come to him.
Yep.
And he knows once he takes that big, heavy step, he's putting him down. He's getting that win. Good for you, Mike CC.
He'll sacrifice that last stall point. Travis, thanks a lot for taking time with us. Really appreciate it. Good luck at States. We're going to step aside.
140 left. That's not good.
And the FCAC championships will end on back-to-back Danbury pins.
Just to look at a couple of the wins from the championships on Saturday, we'll have a full highlight package for you this afternoon on Nutmeg Sports. Don't forget, we will be live from Greenwich tonight in a rematch of last season boys hockey FCAC championship. St. Joe's Cadets traveling to Dorothy Hamill to take on the defending champion Greenwich Cardinals. Kevin Coleman and myself will be live at 3 p.m. from Dorothy Hamill with a special Nutmeg Sports. Head coaches Alex Lershin and Chris Rurick of the boys and girls team, along with a couple of captains, will join us during that show. Puck drop is set for 5:30 tonight. That'll do it for this Nutmeg Sports update. Let's go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Well, this Valentine's Day, 14 couples will be married on the Empire State Building's 86th floor observatory, and a local couple will be among them. Catherine Feen-Millay of Milford and Eric Lestrange, a former Monroe resident who now lives in Shelton, dated back in the early 1980s and eventually lost touch and married other people. Later divorced, they connected on Facebook and after a few months rekindled the flame. Now, after 32 years from when they first met, they're excited to tie the knot tomorrow. Millay is a Milford-based photographer and actress with a studio on New Haven Avenue. According to the Milford Mirror, Lestrange is now a media professional working in advertising sales. But you can get more on their story at themilfordmirror.com. We're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we feature our next interview series with Silver Hill Hospital. We're going to be talking with Micaela Scully about eating disorders and the LGBTQ community, coming up after this. If you're looking for the perfect gift for your sweetheart this Valentine's Day, the HAN Network has you covered. Create your own custom chocolate gift at Chocolate Works of Darien at 25 Old Kings Highway North. When you enter the store, you'll feel like you entered a chocolate factory with the location's expert chocolatiers on hand and an I Love Lucy conveyor belt for workshops and parties. Unique gift ideas include long-stemmed strawberries dipped in chocolate, personalized and decorated, and even alcohol and wine bottles dipped in chocolate with your choice of decoration. Or fill your own heart-shaped box with homemade chocolates, including truffles, sea salt, caramels, and many more. Visit darien.chocolateworks.com for more great gift ideas, or visit them in person in the Goodwives Shopping Center. And at Adam Broderick Salons in Ridgefield and Southbury, you can let their passion for quality salon and spa services show your Valentine just how passionate you are about him or her. With the top salon and spa offerings in the area, you can give the perfect gift of pampering. Check out Adam Broderick's special gift certificate deals for Valentine's Day, including a 3-month spa services gift at their award-winning spa that will keep your Valentine happy long after February 14th. And take advantage of their complimentary gift wrapping. With locations at 89 Danbury Road in Ridgefield and 730 Main Street South in Southbury, you can find out more at adambroderick.com. And it wouldn't be Valentine's Day without a box of homemade chocolates from Deborah Ann's Sweet Shop in Ridgefield. Handmade milk and dark chocolate bonbons, pralines, and melt-in-your-mouth truffles are just some of the most popular treats at the Main Street landmark. And don't forget the fresh dipped chocolate strawberries available while they last on Saturday, February 11th, and of course on Tuesday, February 14th. Visit Deborah Ann's in Ridgefield at 381 Main Street or at deborahans.com. Those are just a few local suggestions for a successful February 14th. From us here at HAN, we wish you and all your loved ones a happy Valentine's Day. I'm Kate Czaplinski for the HAN Network, and February is National Eating Disorder Awareness Month, and we're at Silver Hill Hospital in New Canaan talking with experts on a number of pertinent topics around eating disorders and treatment. And I'm joined today by Micaela Scully, who is a licensed clinical social worker at Silver Hill, and we're focusing today on eating disorders in the LGBTQ community. Micaela, so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Now first, define what the LGBTQ community is.
Yes, definitely. Not everybody is on the same page with that. So lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or questioning community is what that stands for. Questioning just means an individual who isn't certain if they are a sexual minority or a gender minority, and queer is a reclaimed term that can be used as an umbrella term, or it can be used for individuals who don't feel like they really fit within the boxes of the other terms. And it's also important to recognize that not everybody is represented in that acronym. There are many other different identities that people feel like more specifically describe who they are, but LGBTQ is pretty universally used and appropriate to use. So.
Now let's talk about eating disorders. Are they more prevalent in the LGBTQ community than heterosexual?
So first of all, we need a lot more research, a lot more research. But from the research we do have, in short, yes, yes. So for the highest level of eating disorders or eating disorder behavior that we know and have recorded is actually transgender individuals who are uncertain of their sexual orientation. Second, it would be the transgender community in general, and it's pretty equal with any sexual minority males. So males who identify as gay, bisexual, or something else. And after that, it's followed by women who are uncertain of their sexual orientation. And then after that, fourth is heterosexual cisgender women. So cisgender is just not transgender. So someone whose biological sex does coincide with their gender identity. So, I mean, I think for a long time we figured, just straight, white, heterosexual women were the people who struggle with eating disorders, but it's, even higher in the LGBT community, and it's just as high within the Black and Latino community. So after cisgender heterosexual women, it's sexual minority women after that, so anyone who's gay, bisexual, or something else. And after that, it would be cisgender heterosexual men after that. So.
And what are the factors, there must be many different ones, but in that community that lead to more eating disorders?
So that's an excellent question. There's a multiplicity of factors that contribute to anyone having an eating disorder, right? So biological, psychological, social, interpersonal, trauma. And the LGBTQ community have a very high rate of traumatic experiences and what we call minority stress. So there are multiple different factors that contribute to this idea of minority stress. So just even coming out, this concept of having to come out, that it's not normalized, that there are people who have different gender identities and different sexual orientations than the vast majority of people, and this fear of rejection. And it's a very real fear because people do very much get rejected. I think there's a common misconception now that things are getting better. We're talking about it more, but actually the rates of homelessness due to family rejection are higher than they ever have been, because people are feeling more and more comfortable coming out at earlier and earlier ages. We have the terms to identify, oh, that's what I am. Oh, I see that person on TV, that's me. And they are no longer waiting until college or when they leave the house to come out. And people are getting rejected. So 42% of homeless youth are LGBTQ, which is enormous considering it's such a small amount of the population. And 33% of those people have experienced violence when they came out from family or other people. So violence, bullying in general, higher risk of PTSD or PTSD symptoms, and there's a well-known strong link between PTSD and eating disorders. Discrimination in general, just this idea that I could, my self-worth could be lower in general, and then for someone to tell me that I'm not worthy of something, or my identity is not valid, when you're already experiencing a lot of confusion, it raises someone that someone might believe that they're wrong. Mm-hmm. There's something about them is intrinsically wrong and defective, and to have other people say that as well.
So to have all those factors, I mean, let's focus a little bit on family acceptance. Mm-hmm. And how important is that? And what kind of impact does that play?
It has a direct effect. So as I said before about family rejection out of the home, I mean, even if someone isn't being kicked out of their home, just feeling like their family accepts them for exactly who they are is probably the number one protective factor against developing an eating disorder or developing any other kind of psychiatric complication, or addiction or other issues that someone might have. You can always find someone in the world who has a problem with the LGBTQ community, but if your family supports you, if people who are important to you really can get it and understand it or try to understand it, it's a tremendous protective factor. Some people end up having to develop second families. The community is a really important piece because there are some family members who just will never be able to do that. But connecting with community is a huge protective factor as well. And then just working to normalize the LGBTQ community, even though it's a smaller community than the heterosexual or the cisgender community, it's seeing that it's just as valid. Yeah.
And I think that's an important message for families and friends of someone that might be in that community, to just kind of take that in and know how big an impact they could have on that person's life. Mm-hmm. Now, are there a higher number of specific eating disorders in that community?
And leanness, so they have a higher likelihood of symptoms of anorexia or restricting. The LGBT community in general has higher rates of eating disorder behaviors, so binging, purging, using laxatives, restricting in general, but specific populations have different types of body image ideals that are totally different. So for example, the cisgender heterosexual male, actually their eating disorders tend to look a little bit more towards gaining unnecessary muscle that's not medically necessary, whereas gay men tend to go to the leaner route and trying to be leaner just because of what the ideals are in each community. Right. And also the transgender community, there's some evidence that transgender people are looking to minimize secondary sex characteristics. So for example, a trans woman wanting to fit the female ideal of being more lean and beautiful and what it means to look like a woman to validate their identity, or a trans man trying to eliminate their menstrual period, or eliminate the largeness of their breasts and things like that, or just feeling like they have to meet some sort of ideal that is not in accordance with their gender identity. So we do, again, I'm always going to say this, we need more research on specific eating disorders because there's very little research on the actual diagnoses, because there's only so many people who actually have sought treatment to get those diagnoses. So we have more information on behaviors.
Now, do you see any barriers to treatment for people in that community who are seeking it?
Oh, definitely. So on one hand, we need to have eating disorder practitioners be very understanding and knowledgeable about what specific issues the LGBTQ community is dealing with when they come into treatment. And it's not just, a person looking up a facility that they know is LGBTQ friendly or anything like that. Plenty of people come into treatment having no idea they're in the LGBT community, and practitioners should be able to know how to receive that if they're finally in a safe space and can discuss these feelings. It shouldn't have to be like there are specific places that just know how to deal with this population, because it's huge. It's a tremendous amount of people that are struggling, so I think everywhere should really be knowledgeable about that. And then also the community resources for LGBT people. First of all, there aren't enough, but the community resources that do exist might not recognize when someone's experiencing symptoms of eating disorders and where to refer them. So it's kind of twofold in that regard. Eating disorder practitioners needing to send people for treatment.
All right, so I'm hearing more resources, more research. That's what we need.
Yes.
Right,
absolutely.
Well, Micaela, this is such a fascinating topic, really important information, and I thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right, and if you want to find out more about our month-long partnership with Silver Hill Hospital, visit our website, han.network. Thanks again to Micaela Scully of Silver Hill Hospital. And if you missed any of that interview, it will be posted on han.network. We'll be featuring 2 more interviews this month with experts at Silver Hill Hospital on eating disorder awareness. You can watch those Mondays on Coffee Break at 11. Now, Frank, no HAN Arts and Leisure today, but we have a special nutmeg coming up.
That's right. Nutmeg Sports is at 3 o'clock this afternoon, live from Dorothy Hamill Ice Rink. Kevin Cole and myself will be joined by Chris Rurik, head coach of the boys team, and Alex Larishin, coach of the girls team, as well as a representative from the Grand Prix match at 5:30 this evening, Kate.
All right, great. And we will see you for your coffee break tomorrow at 11. Have a great day.